Hey guys, welcome to today's reading. This one is going to be a little bit brutally honest. We are going to be talking about what the gossip is about you, what people have been saying about you, any nasty things people are saying about you. So fair warning, I am intending this one to be super honest. So if you're not feeling that vibe or you want something a little bit easier or sweeter today, I totally understand, and maybe just avoid this reading for right now. But for those of you who are really looking for kind of a truth bomb reading, we're going to be getting into all of it today. And we have today a selection of cards for you to choose from. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. I'm so happy to have you. Basically, you're going to see which of these cards is sticking out to you, calling your name, drawing your attention in towards it. And then as soon as you make up your mind, just scroll down to the timestamps in the comments and the description and jump right into your pile. By the way, if you like how I read tarot and you want to see more of it, then be sure to head to my Patreon where you can see all my additional readings. There are over 95 exclusive readings you'll only find on Patreon. I just posted a reading all about what is going to be happening for you before your next birthday, as well as another brutally honest reading about the connection you have in a romantic relationship and the truth of that connection, another super honest one. So if you're interested in that or any of the tons of other readings we have over on Patreon, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me over there. Also, if you're looking to book a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a tarot reading, an astrology session, an open channeling session, or a combination of all three, or whether you want it to be a quick 30-minute reading or a full hour-length reading. You can really customize your session so it's perfect for you. And like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. Now, if you need more time to decide, you can totally feel free to rewind, pause, and take as much time as you need, but we're going to go ahead and jump into pile one. Hey, pile one, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this Horseman Herald of Change card, this is going to be your reading. So with this Herald of Change card coming out off the top, a lot of people may be talking about how different you are now, that you've changed in some way, that you're not the same version that they knew, and they may even be very bitter about this. I almost feel like there's a sense of like being left out, or I should have gotten that information kind of a vibe, almost like, hey, why didn't you CC me on this email kind of energy. So I feel like there's people that it's almost like they felt entitled to your energy. They felt entitled to you telling them what's going on. And I feel like you have either decided to kind of become secretive or put up boundaries, but definitely people are noticing, and a lot of them are not super happy about that. They may be speculating about what you're doing. Like if you haven't posted a guy in a while, they may be like, oh my gosh, I bet she's dating all over town, or I bet she's like single and alone. I feel like there's all kinds of like stories being filled in because they don't know what's going on. They don't know what you're doing. So there's a lot of like speculation. There's a lot of like just almost fairy tales, nonsense, like, you know, creative writing happening with this. People who just are letting their imagination run wild as to what you've been up to. And they really can imagine. That's the thing about you, pile one. I feel like you're such an exciting person that they really can let their imagination run wild and come up with all these crazy scenarios that probably like no one else would believe when it was someone else. But with you, they can believe that like you probably moved to LA and moved in with a Hollywood actor, and or moved to like Bali and are opening a yoga studio and all this crazy stuff that I feel like sometimes people make up about you or say about you, or this speculation. I feel like it is because you do attract energy or attention more than the average person. So it's like people are interested. They're kind of fiending. They want to know what's going on. Let me get some more cards for you though. What are people gossiping about when it comes to pile number one? What are people gossiping about when it comes to pile number one? So we got gathering around the power of community. Yeah. Again, I feel like there's a lot of people who are interested in what you're doing. They may even unite on this. Like I feel like there's people that almost vibe or unite on the fact that they're like a hater of you. You know, like they may have this friendship that is completely based around the fact that both of them don't like you, and you may be the main topic of conversation when they meet up for brunch instead of them talking about like their job or what they did that day. I feel like they spend a lot of time discussing you. And again, I feel like it's like the crazier the better. Like some of the things people are saying is like insane. But it's like when it comes to you, deep down inside, they really are giving fan energy because they really think you're capable of like these crazy interesting stories. Like, oh my God, I bet she has a sugar daddy. I bet I bet she's trying to move to New York City. I bet she's like, living off a trust fund or whatever crazy. Like, I feel like there's so many levels, and deep down inside, what's that saying about you is that you're a very exciting person, and you do command attention. I don't know if you guys have like a prominent sun or a Leo placement, but I do feel like you definitely are the focus of attention and like the center of the conversation. There's something very exciting about you. I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you guys have strong fire placements, so Aries, Leo, Sagittarius, because it feels like you really do keep people guessing, and there's a little bit of chaos in you. There's a little bit of like unpredictability, and really people are right to not know. They are right to kind of speculate, because it's like deep down inside, you are the kind of person who would like pack up your stuff on Tuesday, quit your job, and move across the world, or who would just start a whirlwind romance, like, with someone you met in Italy and just like fall in love and get married randomly in like 2 weeks. Like you have that capability because you are very full of life, full of energy. And I feel like there are people that actually kind of vicariously live through you, or even if they say they're a hater, they're kind of a fan. Like they kind of love to see what you're up to. They love to like check in and be like, oh my gosh, what are they doing in this chapter? What are they, what's next for them? Like, even though they may kind of scold you with their friends and be like, oh, it's so chaotic, I don't know what she's doing. Deep down inside, like they love to watch this show. They are addicted. Let me get some more cards for you. Pile number 1. What is the gossip about pile number 1? We got Moon Maidens, New Beginnings. Yeah, people can tell you have started something new, pile 1. I really feel like a lot of you guys have genuinely made major life changes. I'm like, people are sensing that. They can tell. I feel like it's almost like even if there is something you're not talking about, like they know there's something big that you guys are doing. Maybe you have been through a complete shift. I'm hearing like an ego death, ego rebirth. I feel like you have shifted your identity in so many ways. Like the old version of you, maybe even like the same clothes you wore or the hairstyle you had. I feel like you've adjusted so much of that. Like you really have put on this new identity. And I feel like a lot of this is people from that past life version of you. And of course, it's still in this current lifetime, but it almost feels like a past life because it was so different. There were so many versions of you that I feel like you've completely transmuted and transformed and just become a totally different side. And I feel like there are people from your old life that almost like wish they could access this new life that you're living. Like they see how fearless you are. They see how much you take opportunities. You embrace these new beginnings. You're just never letting fear get the better of you. And I feel like there's such a sense of like, I wish I could do that. Or like I said, living vicariously through you and wanting to see what you're doing. It almost gives me the vibe of like a stay-at-home mom, housewife or something. She's married, but and as much as she may talk ish to her friends about like, like Sandra's getting a divorce and I can't believe she's leaving her husband for a younger man and that's wrong. But deep down inside, she's like thinking about what would that be like? Oh my gosh. Wow. Like, what is that relationship like? Wow. He's really cute. It's like judging because they're not brave enough to be able to step out on that ledge and do the things you do. So I feel like a lot of the gossip, it's almost like scandalized. It's almost like, I can't believe pile 1 would do that. Or also talking about maybe you being chaotic, maybe about, oh, they're not responsible. What are they doing? I also feel like there's something about you that's just so individualistic. It's definitely giving that axis with Leo and Aquarius. both very individualistic energies where I feel like you don't really care what other people have to say. You march to the beat of your own drum. And some of these people who are judging you, they are so trapped by society. They are so worried about what other people are going to say, what other people are going to think, other people's opinions. And it really holds them back. And I feel like deep down inside, intuitively, they do know that. So there is a part of them that is kind of admiring you, even if they have to stuff it so down into their subconscious. But there is a part of them that like wishes they could be this brave as you are. So let me get into some tarot for you guys. So what tarot do we have for pile number 1? We want to know about the gossip about pile 1. What is the gossip about pile 1? So we got the Knight of Pentacles reversed. Okay. So there may be talk about you being irresponsible financially as well, or like, how do they afford this? I don't get how they're paying for this. The Hermit, the Queen of Cups. Let's get some more cards for you, pile 1, and about the gossip about pile 1. Okay, perfect. 8 of Cups. This one is the Wheel of Fortune. And the Knight of Swords reversed. Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of talk. It's interesting. The Knight of Swords and the Knight of Pentacles are both reversed because those are both very like logical minded signs, very intelligent, very rational, really gonna think things through and, you know, consider them before they rush in. And those are both reversed. And then the suit card that's upright is the Queen of Cups, and she's a lot more emotional. She's gonna do things just because she feels like them. But the other thing about the Queen of Cups is she's extremely, extremely charming, and she can kind of like talk her way out of things. She can get people to do what she wants. She's also got a lot of like feminine charm. She really exudes a lot of feminine energy. Cups, aka water, is very feminine, literally in, you know, the metaphysics of it. So there's something about her that is extremely charming and can probably like riz someone up, make them do what she wants. She can probably like bat her eyelashes and get into a certain room or get into something that was off limits. She really can use her charm, and she kind of doesn't have to think rationally. She doesn't have to like use her brain in that sense. She operates in that space of intuition and like relationships, and she's kind of that person that you could imagine being like a courtesan or a princess or a queen, and just having like her husband be obsessed with her, or having someone who is just like lots of people falling in love with her. And I feel like you guys give off that vibe as well. Like you give off the vibe that you might be able to cut in line at the club and just like, you know, kind of flirt with the bouncer or like flip your hair a certain way and like you're getting in. You know, I feel like there's a lot of that, I don't know, VIP treatment energy around you, and people being jealous about that, but also watching in awe. And almost like especially people that may have eschewed that or kind of gone in another direction, like someone who's, you know, and there's nothing wrong obviously with this. It's amazing. It's an amazing accomplishment. But if someone's like knee deep in like law school or like getting their graduate degree in accounting or like, what is it, the CPA exam, or they are, you know, studying for their doctorate, they might especially spend time like looking at you. I feel like there are people that have lived a very like kind of conventional life, or have really tried to stick to the straight and narrow and followed the rules, so to speak, that really look at you as such a either cautionary tale sometimes. Like sometimes it's like, oh my God, what is pile 1 doing? They're crazy. And sometimes it's like, oh my God, pile 1 is so cool. I kind of want to be them. And I actually feel like because of that, like we got the Hermit, you guys are kind of a trendsetter. You kind of do your own thing, and I feel like other people follow behind. I feel like you are never checking behind you. You're never like, you don't even notice how many people get inspired by you. Like I feel like if you started posting on Instagram in a certain way, like say you just started posting a bunch of reels and none of your friends in your friend group were doing reels, suddenly you'd find all your friends are like posting reels of their vacation and you were like the only one. And when you first started doing it, you may have thought, is this cringe? Like I haven't seen any of my friends make a reel. Like what is everyone gonna think? But you just do it anyway, and then next thing you know, that's what's going on. Or maybe you put up like a photo collage, or I don't know, you do something different with your pictures or you do a photo dump in a certain way, and then it's like, wait a minute, is everyone like following the exact same order of the photo dump? Like, why is this like identical to something I posted? I feel like you don't even realize how much that happens, how often that happens, because like I said, you're just very like staring forward, like focusing on yourself, focusing on your dreams, whatever. And you're not like paying as much attention to like, oh, what does this person think? What are they doing? But you don't even realize how much you do inspire people and how much they are very attuned to like, what is pile number one up to? They definitely take inspiration from you, and they definitely like, there's an energy for sure of people looking up to you. Or even like, I feel like you have a kind of Plutonian, actually all the outer planets exude this energy, whether it's Uranus, which does rule Aquarius, whether it's Neptune, whether it's Pluto. But like those are often like very psychic energies. I mean, all of them have kind of some psychic level. So it's almost like doing something that doesn't make sense to the outside world, doing something that's just intuitive, vibing, kind of like how fashion trendsetters, like sometimes people will try to make sense of like, wait, what's going on? Why is everyone wearing these jeans all of a sudden? And the fashion people will just be like, I don't know, I just like them or whatever. Like the major trendsetters will be like, I don't know, I just was obsessed with like shamrocks, so I decided to put shamrocks on all my jeans, and now everyone's copying me. But I feel like you have that visionary thing that you just do things intuitively because you think it's cool, and you don't realize how sometimes disruptive it is, or how other people are like, oh my god, how did they come up with that? And then over time, because you're tuning into some kind of collective energy, psychic energy, energy on the astral plane, they start to adjust. They start to realize you weren't crazy. They start to realize you weren't like some out of control, out of pocket like disruptor, but maybe you are a disruptor, but you know, you are operating from a genuine place of kind of like higher intuition. And so I feel like you get a lot of people who at first think you're crazy or don't get what you're doing, or kind of like roll their eyes at you or think, what is going on with pile one? This is insane. And then they end up being like, oh, wow, like, okay. And they maybe end up copying you as much as they resent it. They may even make comments like, I really hate pile one, but I will say, like, you know, I saw her using this lip gloss on her Instagram, so I went out and bought it, and you know, honestly, I gotta say it's really good. And it's almost like, well, why did you even buy this person's lip gloss? Like, I really do feel like you have people around you in your life who are like low-key undercover haters, but wish they could wish they could be you, wish they could do what you do, and definitely, like I said, kind of copy you, kind of look up to you, even if they would never word it that way. Let me get some more cards for you. Pile number one. And also, you know, the Wheel of Fortune, another thing that's coming through. Some of you guys may travel a lot. You may give off an energy of like a traveler, or of someone who's always exploring different cultures, going different places. Maybe that you moved, maybe that you've completely changed, I don't know, something in your life. Maybe you learned to speak a new language, or you married someone from a different culture, or you expanded your life in some way. Maybe you changed jobs. All those things are kind of very Sagittarius, Wheel of Fortune. So I feel like people are very amazed by that. Also with the Wheel of Fortune, they may talk about how lucky you seem. The Wheel of Fortune confers luck. It makes someone always land on their feet. It makes someone seem like, oh my God, I don't know how they do this, but they always come out on top. They always have that Midas touch. Everything works out for them. So people may talk about that with regards to you as well. Just like, wow, how do they do this? How do they make this happen for them? How do they always seem to come out, you know, unscathed from the craziest situation, but they're always like chill, flying high. Nothing seems to get to them. Let's get some of these cards. What is the gossip around pile number one, Spirit? What is the gossip around pile number one? Passion. I feel like there's also talk about you being just very attractive, and sometimes the gossip may have to do with you using your wiles, using your innate gifts, your attraction, your beauty, your looks, your riz, your charisma, to get people to do what you want. Like I said, it's giving a little bit of Queen of Cups, which can be a big seducer. And that's how it's coming across to me is, you know, the Queen of Cups, she's not rational minded. She's not someone who's going to sit and wow you with her intellect and talk about all this knowledge that makes you be like, wow, you're really smart. She might even say things like, that sometimes seem like they make no sense. This is why, like, Mercury is debilitated in Pisces and Sagittarius, because, you know, that energy that's intuitive doesn't always vibe with like logic and reason. And sometimes it can be that person that you think is kind of stupid, but they always seem to, like, I don't know, invest money in stocks and make money from it, or they always seem to pass their test with flying colors, or you never see them studying it and they don't seem to take it serious, but they just come out on top. And that can be very maddening. I also feel like there may be a lot of guessing about you using, like I said, your sex appeal, your attraction, people being attracted to you. Maybe like, I don't think that's their money. They probably have a sugar daddy. They probably have a sugar mama. They're probably, you know, just flirting with everyone. They may assume that you like flirt all over town, or you're dating all over town, or you have all these romantic partners interested in you, or you get what you want from that. Like if you're posting travel pics, you may have haters in the, you know, gossiping about like, I bet a man paid for this trip, or she's probably sleeping with someone in order to get into this function, or in order to get, you know, onto this boat or something like that. I feel like there's a lot of talk around you that is like, yeah, I bet she's sleeping with the bouncer. I bet she's blah, blah, blah. And almost like people being really jealous, because I feel like they kind of know deep down inside that you don't even need to do all of that. Like, you don't have to go that far. You can probably just, with that Queen of Cups Riz, like wink at the person. Because that's how different, like the Queen of Cups, she's not as sexual as the Queen of Wands. She doesn't need to do all that. Not to say I love the Queen of Wands, but it's like, it's not even, she's not even doing something as sexual. She just has to like smile. She just has to like dance and be in her vibe and like be positive energy. Like she's that feminine energy that's so addictive. And I feel like for you guys, you don't even need to do all that. You don't need to sleep with someone. You don't need to go that far. All you need is like your energy, your smile, your conversational skills, your charm, and you can get into whatever you want. But there's a lot of people that are jealous of that because they could never do that. And they make comments about how you are using your sex appeal, or how you have things given to you because, oh, it's just because they want to sleep with you, like negative stuff like that. Okay, so we also got trust and forgiveness. Let's see. And then I'm going to get maybe two more. What do people gossip about? Pile number, oh, that's too many. We just need one more, Spirit. Okay, courage. People definitely notice your courage, pile one, how courageous you are. I feel like you're very brave, very bold, and the strength it takes to do that. Like, I also feel like there's been so many times when people have thought you were like down and out. You know, there were so many times when maybe you, I don't know, didn't post on social media for a while, or you kind of like had some kind of seeming loss happen. Like maybe you were working with, you know, old coworkers and you got fired from that job, and they were thinking, oh, they're going to be so down and out. Like if I check their Instagram, they're going to be, you know, down in the dumps, and that's, wow, I can't believe they got fired. Next time if they post on Instagram, they're probably going to be crying. And then it's like you're thriving and your next job is even better, you know, or they check your LinkedIn, your next job is fantastic. Or you break up with someone and they think you're going to be like super depressed, and instead you're out with like someone else that night. I feel like there's a vibe of you like a cat with 9 lives, always landing on your feet and always thriving regardless. Yeah, and I also feel like you have a lot of people from your past that maybe you've cut off with this forgiveness card coming out. There may be a lot of people that know and are aware of the fact that you aren't putting up with them anymore, or you put up boundaries with them. I feel like there's a lot of people that you revoked access to your life, and you aren't playing games with them. Like, I feel like you're being very strong-minded about like, no, you don't get to talk to me like that, or I don't want to be with you in my life anymore, or I'm just moving on. And I definitely feel like you've left people in the dust, so to speak, who definitely look at and watch your page and want to see what you're up to. A lot of these people, I feel like, maybe even feel some sense of knowing they were wrong, or I feel like you can be very cut and dry. Like if someone is messing with you or if someone isn't respecting you, you can sense that energy and you may put up with it for a while, but because you attract so much hater energy, people may even find themselves acting completely out of pocket when it comes to you. And then later being like, oh my God, why was I so crazy towards pile one? Like, why did I hate them? Why was I so mad? Like, they didn't do anything wrong. And they were actually pretty nice. And almost like reflecting and realizing, yeah, a lot of that was my jealousy. Or I guess I was so, possessive and like cut her off as a friend when I had my boyfriend because I was afraid my boyfriend would notice her and she's so pretty. Like, I feel like there's a lot of processing that sometimes happens where people realize that their behavior to you had nothing to do with you. And you're just actually a really nice person and you kind of can't help your appeal. But it kind of makes people act badly towards you. Like it provokes people. Like I feel like you have this quality about you that's just so interesting and fascinating, but sometimes it makes people just act totally out of pocket and totally out of character. And later they have to kind of process, like, yeah, I think that was way too harsh, or I think I wasn't the best. And it's only when they lose access to you and then I feel like they may follow you, but it's like they never regain access and you are very like cut and dry with like, that's it, no more. Yeah, so I feel like there's a lot of like lurkers that maybe even wish they could interact with you or like your stuff or DM with you again, but you're just like, cut it off. Let's get some astrology dice. Ooh, okay. That one landed on Gemini, and let's get two more. Okay, we got Mars, aka Aries, and a little bit of Scorpio, and then the 11th house, Aquarius. So we have Gemini, Aries, maybe Scorpio, and then Aquarius energy coming through. So let's read it I'm just going to keep it simple with Gemini, Aries, and Aquarius. So Gemini is super curious about the world. It's on that same axis with Sagittarius. So Geminis love to explore, love to learn. They're also really great conversationalists. I mean, talk about charming. Geminis can talk to anyone. They're great in conversation and just keeping the conversation flowing. Like if you bring up some random topic, they're never just going to sit there awkwardly and be like, yeah, I don't know. They're going to always have something to say. And for that reason, they can have a lot of friends. They can have a lot of people who just like them. And they're also very like marching to the beat of their own drum, doing their own thing. They are the type to pursue their own interests or randomly get fascinated by like an era of history and learn all about it. And they are the twin, so they can really shift and change identities and step into a totally new identity than the one they had before. And I feel like you definitely have done that. I feel like there may even be talk about you being fake, which happens a lot with Geminis. They get a lot of flack for being fake for that reason. And of course, a low vibrational Gemini could be fake. That can be a lower vibrational representation of that sign, but it's not the high vibrational representation of that sign, just like all signs have high, low vibrational versions of it. So yeah, I feel like some people talk about you being fake, disingenuous, but again, to me, it's just giving haterade. I feel the same with Gemini. Like as a fellow mutable sign, I mean, we contain multitudes. Sometimes we can change our mind, become a different version. And as long as you're not knowingly like lying to someone's face, it's like, let me be on my journey. Let me change my mind. That's how I feel about that. Then we have Aries energy. Aries is so bold, so creative, so inventive, so exploratory. Aries love to try something new, be bold, do something different. They're never afraid. They're very like energetically open to things and unafraid and just fearless. And I feel like you definitely give off that vibe as well, that you don't sit around waiting or, overthinking about things or like trying to stay on the safe side. You feel very like authentic and like you do what you want, you go where you want, and you're very much a trailblazer, which Aries energy is. It is that first house. It is that birth of life at conception, when you first come out of the womb and you're first seeing the world. That's Aries energy. It's the ram, it is someone who is not going to even take a moment to wonder if they should do it. They're just going to go for it. And that's what allows Aries to accomplish so many things. And I feel like that's what allows you to live such a vivid, expressive, exciting life that keeps people on the edge of their seat. Then we have the 11th house, aka Aquarius. I already talked about this a little bit, but Aquarius energy is so individualistic, so unique. They really don't care what other people think about them. A lot of people will say that, I don't care what people think, I don't care what they say. But Aquarius actually means that they really don't care. If anything, they might care in the sense of like, yeah, I want to be different. I want to be weird. I want to be the one that is like shocking you. I don't want to fit in with you. So you guys definitely give off that vibe as well of someone who is not really interested in like fitting in and trying to get everyone to like them, and genuinely is going to blaze their own path, be a trailblazer. I feel like for you guys as well, Aquarius often can be very inventive with fashion, how they dress. They can be the person who is that style trendsetter because they don't follow the crowd. They don't wait to fit in. So they can be that person that ends up dressing totally differently from everyone else and inspiring a lot of other people with their fashion or how they look. And I feel like you definitely give off that vibe of someone who is um, marching to the beat of their own drum, listening to their own music, doesn't care what others have to say about it. And yeah, I feel like it's very inspiring to a lot of people. So that is what I have for you, pile number 1. I really hope that resonates, guys. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to check out my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 95 exclusive readings you'll only get access to when you sign up for Patreon. And I just posted one all about what is happening for you by your birthday, as well as what is the brutal truth about this relationship. So if you really want to know the truth about a connection you have, then that's the one to watch, but there's a lot of honesty in it. Anyway, there's so much content over on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're interested in a quick half-hour reading, a full hour-length reading, a combination of tarot, astrology, channeling, or focusing on one of those capacities. You get to really customize your session, so it's perfect for you. And if you're interested, like I said, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey Pile 2, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this Dust Devil Moving Out of Stagnation card, this is going to be your reading. So with this Dust Devil card, this is such a positive message that maybe people are seeing your life change or observing you making some kind of bold new change in your life. I feel like you actually have a lot of supporters, more than you even know, Pile 2. And Spirit is telling me sometimes you don't even feel that, or you would be shocked to know how many people like are rooting for you, how many people are cheering you on and excited to see you make changes. So I feel like some of the discussion around you is around like, look at what they're doing. That's so cool. I almost feel like you're almost inspiring other people as well to make certain changes, especially if you've like changed your life in some major way, moved or taken some risk with your career or something, opened a business, anything like that. I feel like people are looking at it kind of in awe and being like, wow, like I always knew Pile 2 was capable of that, but to actually see them make that a reality is really cool and inspiring. So I feel like the first thing that's coming through is just people can see these changes you're making, and a lot of them do support it. A lot of them are on your team, on your side, even if you don't talk to them all the time. Maybe for some of you guys, this was like going a while of not posting on social media and keeping things really private. Or maybe you had like a breakup for a long time that you were processing and you were single and now you're in a relationship. But I feel like there's this energy of like, way to go, Pile 2. And people just being really excited for you, seeing these changes you're making and just being like, this is freaking awesome. And I'm so overjoyed because you deserve it. I actually feel like you have a lot of goodwill, Pile 2. You have a lot of people that really, really love you and see you as a really good person, just very kind, very sweet, very almost angelic. And like, see that you are a sweet soul in a world that can be really harsh, and they want to see you do well. They want to see you thrive. So that's the first thing that I'm getting for you. Pile number 2. Let's pull some more cards and see what else that people are gossiping about when it comes to you. When it comes to pile number 2, what are people gossiping about for pile 2, Spirit? Let's see. Crown games, right use of power. Okay. And I do feel like this connects to, for some of you guys, discussion and gossip around you guys being done badly. Like in the past, maybe someone like using you, not treating you well, maybe you going through a rough time. And if you thought at that time that a lot of these people were like making fun of you or being like, haha, what a loser, you know, they got dumped or they got fired from their job or whatever, just know you have so many people that like want to see you do well and see the best in you. I feel like you've sometimes had people be really cruel and mean to you, pile 2, and sometimes now you take that, like you, because you have such a beautiful soft heart, I feel like you have been kind of shocked sometimes by how mean people can be, how selfish they can be, how cruel the world can be. And maybe it has made you kind of just assume, well, I guess that's just how it is. Everyone's like that. And just know that you really do have like a team of supporters. That's coming through so strong for you. Is like, you may have thought everyone's laughing at me, like, because my ex-boyfriend dumped me brutally and I was alone and, you know, I just look like such a loser. And I feel like you don't even realize that so many of these people saw what was going on, saw what a jerk your ex-boyfriend was, and they were on your side 100%, okay? They were not on your ex's side. They were not cheering on, like, your old friend who dumped you and, like, talked ish about you or whatever, or they were not cheering on your job that fired you. They really saw the whole time, you know. And I will say, like, I think I have seen that happen to people where I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, you know, she got dumped or something happened with her career, but I'm not gonna, like, maybe I don't know that person well enough, or I don't want to like make them uncomfortable by being like, hey, I've seen all the drama going down on your social media, or hey, I heard people talking about you and they all said this. So I might not reach out, but you know, I think we've probably all felt this way, that we're like, oh, I hope they do well. Oh my gosh, their ex was such a jerk. I've been waiting for that breakup. I knew it. I'm thinking of this girl I know that, like, she got married to this guy and I knew he was cheating on her because he would hit on my friend. And I remember one time I wasn't close friends with her, but one time I was like, I'm going to tell her. Spirit, give me the sign. I have to know when the time is right to tell her. And I remember she just started crying and I was like, this is it. And then she started crying about, I'm so lucky to have him. And that's when I was like, okay, this is my sign. I'm not supposed to get involved. I'm just going to let this play out. And I was so happy when I found out she got a divorce. Like, one of my friends told me and I was like, yes, because I knew he was such a jerk and I had known it the whole time. But I also was very conflicted about, like, what do I say? It's our life. She's so happy to be married. How do I ruin that? Like, I'm a girl's girl, so I would always tell, but I don't even know. She's not my close friend. I don't know if that's my place. I don't want to cause all this drama. Like, my friend was like, I don't want to get involved with the friend he would always hit on. So I felt very conflicted. And I think that that's what's coming through is, like, sometimes we think, oh, I'm so humiliated. I have this friend that, like, left me in the dust, or I have this partner that broke up with me and left me brutally, or I have this job that let me go and I'm so embarrassed and it's so lame and I look like such a loser. And the reality is, so many people see what's going on. They can read energy. They're intuitive. They know that that boss you had was crazy, or they know that that friend you had was a jerk and was using you the whole time. They may not reach out and tell you to your face because, like, none of us really want to have that conversation, but they may be, like, cheering it on and thinking, yes, and you deserve so much better. And I'm so happy for you. So yeah, I feel like there's an energy for you around people just seeing, like, some kind of transformation you're going through, some kind of life change, and being, like, so excited because they feel like you do deserve the best. You do deserve so much more happiness than whatever you were given in the past. You deserve better treatment as well. Like, however you were being treated, I feel like it wasn't it, because people were not happy about it. Let's get some more cards for you. Pile number 2. Jeweled web connectivity. Okay. And let me get one more card for you. Pile 1. Garden of Venus, rest and renewal. I feel like another thing people do gossip about with you is just how beautiful you are, how attractive you are. as a soul, but like straight up physically also. But yeah, as a soul, as a person, I feel like you have so many people that just really love your energy. They may also gossip about your romantic life. I feel like they see you as someone who is a charmer or someone who has a lot of people interested in dating them, has a lot of options. I feel like there are people that see you as such a catch and see you as someone that, like I said, really deserves the best in life, really deserves a lot of happiness and to be content and to be peaceful. I also feel like people gossip about the fact that it's almost like I feel like you're not as chaotic, pile number two, or maybe there's like a lot of quiet. Maybe you don't post your drama on social media or something, you keep it to yourself. But I feel like people maybe gossip about a little bit about what are they doing, or why haven't they been showing as much, or whatever they've been posting just seems really chill. Like it feels like you're at a really good place in your life. Um, and I feel like people sometimes may gossip about not so much you, but like the friend group you're around. If you're in a chaotic friend group, they may gossip about, I hope they're okay. I hope pile two is like doing well. Or they may gossip about a partner you have. Like if you have a partner that's kind of risky on social media or sometimes does crazy stuff, there's just some strong message I'm getting that like there's a situation in which some of y'all feel judged or feel trapped or feel like, what are people going to say about this? I look crazy. And it's like, you do not look crazy. And people have already figured out the energy. They already know the vibe. And like I said, I think you actually have, it's funny because I think you're very kind of secretive on social media or secretive in public. You just might not be the type to like randomly start a fight with your boyfriend walking on the street. So you would like wait until you're at home, or you might be the type where, you know, you're not going to blast your business to everyone. There's some kind of secretive energy around you. And what I'm getting is a lot of people are seeing this and they're just thinking, first of all, that you're very polished, very put together, but also that sometimes they see you as having such a good heart that you might not always have the right radar for people, or you might be too sweet and they sometimes worry about you, or they want to like protect you, is kind of the vibe I'm getting. Let me get some tarot for you though. Pile number two. What is the vibe for pile two of the gossip? What is the gossip people are giving about pile two? So we got the 9 of Pentacles. Okay. Let's see. This one is the Knight of Wands. The 5 of Pentacles. The World. And let's get 2 more. This one is the 10 of Wands and the 9 of Swords. So especially if you're living a fast-paced lifestyle, people may also be concerned about that with you. Making, like if you're with a friend group that's kind of wild, they're a lot of fun, maybe they're a little crazy, they have, you know, brunch every Sunday and like drink champagne, you know, that kind of vibe. I feel like people worry about you a little bit in the sense of like, I hope they're good because they're just such an innocent, sweet soul. Or if you have a partner, I'm not gonna lie, some people may gossip about like, I don't like their partner. That just keeps coming through for some of you. Not everyone, take what resonates and leave the rest. But with the 10 of Wands, if you have a partner, or if you did have a partner, there may be people that really hated your boyfriend or your girlfriend, and they may have even said that you do everything. Like, I feel like you're such a great person, pile two, but sometimes people may gossip about like, pile two's a doormat, or pile two takes on too much. Pile two does too much work. You know, the 10 of Wands can be someone that doesn't have boundaries with like, no, I'm not doing that. Like at a job or at a workplace, it can be that person that they're constantly taking on whatever task needs to be done. Like if coffee needs to be made, they'll get up from their desk and go do it, even if that's not their job. Or, you know, someone knows that I need a pushover to take over this project and it's Friday afternoon, no one else is going to do it, I'll go ask pile number two. So I feel like there's a vibe around sometimes people thinking that, like I said, either you have a job, either you have friends, either you have a partner, but sometimes maybe those people not treating you with the respect that you deserve and almost like taking you for granted. And maybe sometimes people talking about it in the sense that I really hope pile two sees their worth. I really hope pile two sees their value. I really hope pile two finds like that self-esteem in a way that I feel like everyone else can see so strongly in you. Everyone knows what a gift you are. We got Garden of Venus when it comes to you. Like they can see how sparkling and amazing you are. And I feel like they just want to make sure that the people in your life also view you that way. There may also be gossip about you starting a new phase in your life or really changing things up with the world card. To me, you know, the world card is a card of completion. It's when we finished the major arcana, we've ended that cycle, and now we're ready for the minor arcana and that journey through the tarot. But we've completed this here, this hero's journey, fool's journey. And I feel like for you guys, it's almost like you're maybe ending an old cycle and ready to step into another cycle. And people may gossip about that. There may even be gossip, since I think this is going to be, well, I'm going to try to do it brutally honest because I know a lot of you guys like that. So I love those kinds of tarot readings as well. So let's talk about the negatives, since you guys have had so many positives coming through. But people may gossip about you, like I said, being naive, even being slightly stupid, or like they don't know what they're doing. Or they may gossip about, are they ready for this? Like they think they can do this? I don't know. Some people may even gossip about you being spoiled with this Nine of Pentacles, or like, oh, they probably had everything so easy. They probably had life handled to them. Like, I think it depends, because you guys do have so many people in your corner, so many people that see you as amazing and see your beautiful, sweet soul. So I really want to emphasize that, pile one. But since this is going to be one of those darker readings, let's talk about the Plutonian unhappy aspects of this. So for people who have a lot of their own trauma that they haven't worked through, a lot of shadow work that they've ignored, and a scarcity mindset, envy, a lot of envy and jealousy in them, I feel like they would direct that at you in the sense of like, oh, pile one has had everything handed to them. They've had everything given to them so easily, even that you maybe are like privileged, or words like that. Like, oh, they are, I don't know, like a Nepo baby, or oh, their dad probably pays for everything. Or, yeah, of course, she's so naive. Like, she probably thinks it's so easy. I mean, she grew up in like the lap of luxury. Daddy does everything for her. You know what I mean? Those kinds of conversations. Or like, yeah, I'm not surprised she got lost her first day in New York. Isn't she from a small town? And yeah, probably the most dangerous thing she ever had to deal with is like when her, you know, Mercedes ran out of gas one time. You know what I mean? Like there's people that I feel like talk about you in that sense, or people who might talk about how you're like naive, too innocent, too trusting, and almost like taking a negative lens of that, looking at it through a very harsh lens that you don't deserve it, or you're only able to be that sweet, naive person because you've never had any kind of hardship directed at you, which of course we know is not true. But that's where I feel like that could be the negative expression of this kind of perception of you. I also feel like there's gossip, maybe for some of you guys, around your dating or love life, with maybe a perception that you date players. With the Knight of Wands coming through, there may be a perception that you date people who are kind of bad for you, or like bad boys. Like you might be a good girl and there's a perception that you always date bad boys. Or if you're like a very straight arrow guy, whatever the phrase is, if you're a very like straight-laced guy, maybe kind of like dorky, it's like, oh, he probably gets played by strippers. You know what I mean? He probably, oh wow, he thinks he's dating that stripper and she's into him. She's going to use him for all he's worth. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like there's talk around that, around, again, being innocent, naive, trusting, and maybe not perceiving things accurately. Maybe not seeing people's intentions accurately in some way. Again, I'm just trying to be really honest and not be like overly harsh. But that's what's coming through. I do have my Mercury squaring Pluto, and so sometimes I can come across too harsh when I don't mean to. But since this is like a very like darker reading, we're just gonna go with it. There may even be a perception that some of you guys are bad with money, or that you can't handle money, or that like, again, you're kind of clueless. You're kind of like a little bit of a mess. Like you're so vulnerable and so innocent, but in a way that is maybe too naive, almost in a way that's like neglectful, or like, why don't they have their ish together? Why are they so innocent and young in their energy? Why are they so immature? Why haven't they figured this out yet? Aren't they an adult? Talk around that. So again, I don't mean to be harsh. It's hard for me to even say those things because I think you guys have a really lovely energy around you. But yeah, I feel like there could be gossip around that from certain haters. Let's get into some of these cards though. Some more oracle cards for you, pile number 2. So we want to know what the gossip is around pile number 2. What is the gossip around pile number 2? Spirit guides. Okay. Family. And that one flew out. Oh, they're flying out of this deck. Inspiration. And fertility. Great. Let's get one more because why not? Dreams. Again, some of the gossip may also about you being, like I said, overly naive, or what is the word? I guess overly optimistic, like one of those people that, you know, they're like, oh, I'm gonna move to LA and I'm gonna be a famous actress. And it's like, have you ever taken an acting lesson, or do you have any connections? And you know, and they'll be like, no, but I just know I'm gonna make it. And sometimes that does happen, but I feel like it's easy, you know, to laugh at that person because sometimes it doesn't happen. So there may be talk around you being naive or like a dreamer, or what are they actually doing? What have they actually done? Again, I feel like a lot of your haters are just very mean-spirited. Like, I'm gonna be honest, like I really just think they are. Maybe because this pile is giving Pisces energy, like kind of delusional dreamer energy, and very sweet and kind, and I'm a Pisces, so yeah. But I feel like, again, you have so many people who really love you. There may even be discussions about, again, being very protected from the world, either by having a very loving family or by having a partner that really takes care of you, does everything for you, and discussions around, well, what are they going to do if like their partner leaves them? Or what are they going to do if their family cuts them off? You know, how are they going to function on their own? How are they going to stand on their own 2 feet? There also may be discussions or gossip around you being spacey, kind of like not very down to earth, not very focused, not very diligent, kind of a mess, kind of chaotic in that sense, or very intuitive, but in a like kooky way. Of course, we all know those kinds of people who are like haters of the spiritual community and would say, oh my God, she's into tarot. It's so pathetic. Or she's into astrology. She really thinks the stars are influencing everything. Isn't that funny? I feel like it's almost harder to make those jokes now because astrology and tarot has become so popular. But definitely there's still people that will like look down their nose at you because you're into spiritual stuff, astrology, or you watch like Teal Swan or Abraham Hicks or whoever else, Neville Goddard, you know, you're into those people and they'll be like, oh my God, they're quacks, they're crazy. So I feel like there may be discussion around you being kind of like kooky in that sense, or gossiping around, why does pile number 2, like, don't they know that, I don't know, that person's a scammer? Don't they know that astrology isn't real? Or why are they so naive? Why are they so gullible that they're falling for these astrologers? And like, oh my gosh, they're so stupid. So yeah, again, I feel like the people who hate you are just just bad people, in my opinion. I know I'm obviously biased, but yeah, this is the gossip that may be happening around you. But I really do feel like most people love you, pile 2. Most people really are cheering you on. And even though you may attract some haters, I do feel like the majority of people are on your side and want to see you thrive, want to see you do well, and are just, you know, cheering you on. But let's get into some astrology dice for you, pile number 2. Let's see what the astrology says for pile number 2. So we got Scorpio. Then we have Venus. Okay, that's very strong in your energy field. And we also got the 11th house. So Aquarius. So we have Aquarius, Scorpio, and then we have Venus energy coming through. So let's start off with Aquarius. Aquarius is definitely a little kooky. Sometimes they can come off sometimes a little spacey, being ruled by an outer planet, Uranus. And that's because they're very ahead of the crowd. Also, Aquarius really does have a very strong interest in a lot of things like astrology, like any kind of metaphysical subject. So it is that person that, again, would definitely fit this paradigm of being a little kooky, a little spacey, sometimes being a little like whacked out, some people may say, and just very different. Also, Aquarius is very humanitarian minded. But the other thing about Aquarius is it rules the 11th house of large groups of people. So I do feel like you have mostly a lot of people who do like you. They may have met you and at first thought like, who is this? Or this person is a little different, or they're strange, or they may not have really known you at first or understood you at first. But I do feel like mostly you do have more supporters than you have haters. You do have more people who cheer you on than who want to see you fail. So, you know, even if you may feel like you don't have as many close friendships because the 11th house of Aquarius is larger groups, it's not those close friendships, which are more in like the 4th house. But that 11th house is definitely like all kinds of contacts you might have, or acquaintances, or connections. And I feel like there are so many of those that watch you from afar and just are like, oh, pile 2 has the biggest heart. They're so nice. They're so kind. They're so great. Then we have Scorpio. Scorpio is the 8th house, and the 8th house is the house of other people's money. And again, I'm getting that strongly with you guys, where maybe some of the gossip is around pile 2 can't stand on their own 2 feet, or pile 2 can't do this. Pile 2 is reliant on either like their husband or their family or their father or their mother, but they're getting money somehow from someone else. And like they're not strong enough to kind of do it all on their own. Another thing about Scorpio energy, it's ruled by Pluto, planet of transformation. So a lot of Scorpios go through many deep transformations, become many different versions of themselves. And I feel like people can see that with you as well, that you just seem like someone who is really evolving, transforming who they are and stepping into this like brand new version of themselves that didn't exist before. And I feel like so many of your supporters and your genuine friends are so there for that. They're so happy. They're so supportive, and they definitely do want to see you do well. That outnumbers the haters and the mean people. Then we also have Venus energy, and Venus energy is really charming, really loving, really sweet. Really an energy that leaves you with a great taste in your mouth, and you may just feel incredibly charmed when you're done talking with like a Libra or a Taurus or anyone who has prominent Venus. Oftentimes they'll just have like a nice way of saying things and a gentle quality to them, where they don't seem overly aggressive, they don't seem hostile or too feisty. There's kind of a peace and a calm that they radiate out. So I feel like you definitely give off that vibe. Some people may gossip about you using your wiles to get what you want, or like I said, you having flings with people who aren't that good for you. I feel like there's almost a vibe around you where like you're the good one. But sometimes you surround yourself with like bad friends or bad partners. Not to say they're bad, but maybe they're like a bad boy, or they're a bad girl, or they're kind of like, you're the nice one and you're like the sweetheart of the group. Like in Sex and the City, you'd be the Charlotte, and then, you know, your friends would be the Samanthas or the Carries or the Mirandas, but you would be the Charlotte who's like so sweet, so nice, sees the best. And sometimes people may gossip around that of like, oh, you're so naive, or oh my gosh, good luck with her, she's dating him and you know how he is, he's a player. But I feel like people mostly, like I said, have goodwill, and they're kind of amazed sometimes, because I do feel like you are that type who can sometimes like tame a player, or date the guy that no one else could get to settle down, or be the one to fit in with a friend group that's super wild and crazy, and even if you don't drink, you're hanging with them just as great on a Sunday afternoon while everyone else is like blitzed out on mimosas, and you're still hanging and you're still having a good time. So I do feel like there's people that just like look back at this and they're kind of impressed like with how you handle yourself, but mostly I feel like they do want to see you do well. Like I've loved seeing Sex and the City get more popular on TikTok and people talking about them, because it seems like everyone loves Charlotte. She was always my fave, and I felt like people thought of her as like kind of this loser and like, oh, she's so dumb. And I was always like, but she's the nicest. I like her. And anyway, I think sometimes when you are the nice one, sometimes you do feel that energy of all the people with hostility, all the people that judge you. But so much of the time, you do have supporters in your corner. You do have people that are cheering you on, and you do have people that really see the situation for what it is and know that you're being treated badly or know that you deserve better. So yeah, that is what I have for you, pile number 2. I really hope that resonates, guys. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon where I post all my additional readings. There are over 95 exclusive readings you'll only get access to on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about what is the brutal truth about this relationship and connection. So if you want the 100% honest Plutonian truth about a relationship you've had, then that's the one to watch, as well as one about what is happening to you before your next birthday. But like I said, there's so much content over on Patreon. And you also get to be the first to watch my YouTube videos. If you're interested in joining us over there, then head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments and the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you want a quick half-hour reading or a full hour-length reading, whether you're looking for an astrology session, a tarot reading, an open channeling session, or a combination of all three, you can sign up for that, like I said, at my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you guys got this Stranger Curiosity card. So with the Stranger Curiosity card coming out, I do feel like you guys have a lot of people who maybe are interested in you and probably do gossip about you. You may be a main topic of conversation for a lot of people. Some of you guys may even be very secretive, or you may be that kind of person that like disappears on social media for a little while, and then the next time you pop up, you're like living in a totally new place, or you have a new boyfriend, or you are engaged or married. Like that person that doesn't post much, but when they do, it makes an input and it makes an impact, and people are talking about it and people are interested. I feel like you are definitely you have a fascinating energy about you, and you definitely pique people's interest. They may also perceive you as low-key like a minor celebrity or something is what I'm getting. So maybe they see you as just very popular. If you go to like a college, maybe you are seen as one of the, cool people at your college or something. Or if you are in a workplace, maybe you're perceived as very well liked, or you have a very glamorous life on the weekends. Maybe you're perceived as someone who has a lot of friends or a lot of dating options. So even if you're like keeping that to yourself and you don't talk with your coworkers about what you did, they may just get the vibe of like, I just think they're so busy. I just think they have so many friends. I think they have a glamorous life, and like they're really cool. They may even kind of look up to you in some way. But let's get into some more cards and see what people are gossiping about you. Pile number 3. What are people gossiping and saying about pile number 3, Spirit? What are people gossiping and saying about pile 3? So we got gathering around, the power of community. So once again, this energy of a lot of people noticing you, a lot of people talking about you. Your name is on a lot of people's lips. Feast of plenty, choices and their consequences. Okay. Some people may perceive you as quite wealthy, or that you hang out with like a very bougie group of people. Maybe that, again, like I said, you have a wide friend group, which we can also see with these cards. And that, those friends are more high end, more even like privileged, or just like wealthy, well off, that you hang out with like a glamorous crowd. I feel like there's a lot of perception that you lead this exciting life, and maybe even sometimes that it's slightly chaotic, or that there's a lot of drama, but it's like interesting, fun drama, like soap opera drama. You know what I mean? Let me get one more card and then we can launch fully into the reading for pile number 3 of what people gossip about. Pile 3, Spirit. Okay, you get 2 cards, which is very fitting for the level of gossip that I think is around you. Many masks, the authentic self. And this one is in the hand, the universe is your partner. Great. So I really do think that Yeah, there is this perception that you have a lot of friends. There may even be a perception of you as being kind of fake. I feel like sometimes if someone's like a little insecure, or if they don't have maybe a lot of friends themselves, they may have a very negative idea or mindset towards socializing in general, or they may think that because your weekends are full or something, that it's because you're very inauthentic. It's because you're not a genuine, accurate person, honest person, that you may be presenting a different version of yourself to different people. But I do feel like a lot of the energy I'm getting could be motivated by envy, or just like not understanding you. Like, I feel like in a way you're kind of a social chameleon is what I'm getting, pile 3. I feel like you're someone that could talk to literally anyone. Like, you could have a conversation with a total random stranger who's like a janitor, or you could have a conversation with someone who's like a CEO. You really can run the gamut. And I feel like there's a lot of people that kind of don't understand what you're doing, or wish that they could do it deep down inside, but would rather put it through that lens of being a hater and kind of judgmental about it and kind of look down at it. But there may be people gossiping about, yeah, like, how do they know all these people? How do they have so many friends? Or even saying mean stuff about that. Like, oh, he probably doesn't really like her. He's just hanging out with her because she's so over the top. She comes on so strong. I know I don't mean to come across harsh. I promise this would be like a very intense, honest reading. So, please don't be offended. I don't mean anything bad by it. I'm just trying to tune into the energy of the kind of people who would gossip, and those are usually haters. So people may be saying like, oh, they're really fake, or why would he want to be around her? Or I feel like people have some kind of conversation or gossip around you almost as being like, not 100% yourself. Maybe that you act one way with certain people and a different way with someone else. And that's the thing. I am a mutable sign. I'm a Pisces, and I do think a lot of us contain multitudes. A lot of us are not just one way or another. We're not just the nerd or the cheerleader. Sometimes we're both, at the same time. But a lot of people don't get that. And so I feel like a lot of this is resentment from considering you as someone that a lot of people do get along with and a lot of people like. And maybe even saying that you're like an attention seeker, or you're someone that is always trying to be the center of a conversation, or you're someone that's always trying to put themselves out there front and center, and that, this is something that you're just like hustling after. This is something that you're obsessed with, that you're not someone who is like genuine and quiet and just okay with being themselves. I feel like there's a lot of talk around why does pile number 4, or excuse me, pile number 3 need to get so much attention? Why do they care who's looking at them? Why do they need to like date this person? There's a lot of resentment around you being a little bit of a star, or getting some attention that I feel like others deep down inside feel like they can't. And almost like, who do they think they are? Do they really think that they're better than me, or do they really think that they're that great? There's a lot of anger and resentment about almost people who want to like knock you down a pedestal, or make you humble you. I feel like people may also gossip about your relationships or about your friendships. If you are in dating relationships, they may talk about that relationship, and they may be gossiping about all the details on that. And they may gossip along the lines of, because I feel like a lot of the gossip around you is kind of wishful thinking, or people making up fan fiction stories of just like what they would want to see happen. So people may gossip about, oh, he doesn't actually like her. I always think that's funny, like, whenever you see a celebrity man dating a woman, there's almost always talk about like, oh my God, he hates her. You can see how annoyed he is with her in public. Oh my God, he looks so uncomfortable next to her. And it's always so funny because it's like, he's a celebrity. He's probably a sex symbol if he has all these female fans who are mad about it. So he doesn't have to be with her. He could choose to be with someone else. You know what I mean? And sometimes maybe there is some truth to that. Someone might feel pressured to be in a relationship for whatever reason. But a lot of times it's like the hard to accept truth is, no, he just wanted to date her. You know what I mean? And I feel like there's a talk around you sometimes with your friends, if you're in a relationship with your partner, of like, oh, they're not actually happy with them. They look so miserable next to pile number 3, something like that. Again, just typical hater stuff. Let's get into some tarot for you. Pile number 3, we want to know, what is the gossip about pile number 3? What is the gossip around pile number 3? So we got the Hermit, okay? And this is the Emperor. The Four of Wands. And the King of Cups. I feel like with the Four of Wands coming out, people may also gossip about you being a little bit wild or crazy. The Four of Wands can be such a fun card. It's a very exciting card. It's a very like charming card if you're on the receiving end of that. Someone with a Four of Wands personality is someone who's going to be, generally speaking, bubbly, extroverted, the life of the party, probably knows lots of people. So again, depending on this person's security with themselves, if they feel totally confident, if they feel like they are good and they're happy with their life, they're happy with their friendships, I feel like they would just really enjoy your company. But if someone is, feeling insecure, if they're feeling vulnerable, if they feel very like, kind of like awkward and they don't know what to say, I feel like they may look at you. Some of them may look at you with awe, being like, wow, how does pile 3, excuse me, how does pile 3 do this? Like, they're so good socially. It's amazing how they, make these conversations flow. It's amazing how they do that. But if someone isn't really okay with themselves in that sense, if they are someone who gets really nervous when they have to talk to someone or gets anxiety when it comes to like going out to the bar and flirting, I feel like they may really judge you and put this negative spin on it, as in like, pile 3 is so fake. Pile 3 is desperate for attention. Pile 3 always has to. I also feel like there's an energy with certain people who are jealous of the attention you get from like members of the opposite sex, or if you're into same sex, maybe other sexual competition. Like people being jealous around you of why do they get that attention? I'm the one who deserves that attention. And almost saying that you're the kind of person that needs that attention. You seek out attention. You'll go out of your way to get it. I feel like a lot of the attention you get is just because you're like a fun person. And it's almost like unintentional on your part. Not that there's anything wrong with intentionally getting attention, but I don't feel like you go out of your way to try to scheme it up. But I feel like a lot of people may talk about you in that sense. They may also talk about you being kind of, I want to say, ditzy, or sometimes gossiping about any mistake you made. Like, I feel like if you make a mistake, if you screw something up, there's gossip around, why did pile number 3 do that? Or they're so stupid for doing that. Or how could they fall for it? It's almost like your haters, they absolutely love to seize upon anything you messed up, anything you did wrong. I also feel like with the Emperor coming across with the King of Cups, there's also gossip around your relationships, and maybe even saying that you really attract wealthy or very powerful partners. Maybe that I wouldn't be surprised if there's some gossip sometimes around you being like a sugar baby or having people take care of you. And I feel like, again, some of these people are kind of impressed with it. Some people are in awe. Some people just can't see through their jealousy and may look at it through a lens of, why can't I have that attention? Or she always has to get that attention. She's so boy crazy. She can't stand on her own 2 feet. I also feel like there are people that may gossip about you. And again, this is me being as brutally honest as possible because this was supposed to be a darker, more intense reading. So there may be people who even gossip around you being mean or being like a snob. Like I said, being fake. Like it's almost like sometimes you'll hear a story about a celebrity and it'll be like, oh, that celebrity was so mean to me. And you'll hear the story and it's like, oh yeah, so they were really stressed one night. I came up to them asking for an autograph while they were at dinner with their boyfriend. They kept arguing with their boyfriend at the table. I interrupted them while they were eating and asked for an autograph, and she said no and apologized. And you're like, okay, that doesn't sound like a jerk. That just sounds like, why did you come up with them in the middle of a heated dinner with their boyfriend where they're obviously going to be upset? You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't sound like they're actually a jerk. I feel like there's a vibe with that around you where maybe there are people who talk about you being really mean or talk about you as someone who is closed off or not open, or thinking you're better than everyone. Again, I think so much of this is a projection that says more about the person saying it than about you. But there may be that discussion around, yeah, they think they're better than everyone, they're a snob, they're not as great as they think they are, that kind of a thing. Let's get some more cards for you. Pile number 3. So we want to know what people say or gossip about pile 3. We got 2 cards, the moon, and then we also got the temperance card. And let's get a couple more cards for pile number 3. The Queen of Swords reversed. And this is the 7 of Wands. I feel like there's also people that gossip about you in terms of something like is going to crash and burn in your life. Like, oh yeah, it may look like pile number 3 is on top of the world now, but trust me, they're going to have some kind of humbling happen to them. They are going to get dumped by their boyfriend, or they are going to be fired by their job. Like I said, so much of the discussion around you, pile 3, is wishful thinking. I feel like people also perceive you as operating in kind of rarefied air or in a very elevated space, like almost like, wow, they hang out with such bougie friends, or they hang out with such snobby people, or they are always in the most expensive places. And again, maybe even thinking that you're very shallow or very fake because of that as a result. I feel like people sometimes may gossip as well about you not having your life exactly as you portray it. So maybe saying that like you don't have the money like that, or you're not actually doing as well in your career like that, or maybe like, oh, she acts like that's her boyfriend, but he's not. He's just a hookup. He doesn't care about her. Again, I feel like a lot of that is wishful thinking because people sometimes can't believe how good your life looks, or that you're doing all these things on your own, and that it's almost like they're scrambling around trying to find an excuse or a reason, or trying to make themselves feel better, because I feel like a lot of people end up comparing themselves to you and not really liking the answer, not really liking how you make them feel. So they kind of take it out on you and try to find a way to soothe their ego by casting aspersions about you. But yeah, I feel like there is that discussion about, hey, listen, over long term, with that temperance card and the 7 of Wands coming out next to each other, over long term, they may be okay now, and they may look like things are going well for them now, but I feel like in 5 years' time, like this is a house of cards. Or maybe even wondering, like, how do they afford all this? How do they have that car? Maybe they're in credit card debt. Maybe they're not actually dating this guy. Maybe he's gonna dump her. She thinks he's so in love with her. He's not. He doesn't care about her. There's a lot of that discussion around like almost it being a matter of time, or you're going to have some comeuppance in the future. You're going to have some kind of a punishment directed at you. I also feel like there may even be gossip. And again, I hate to be so harsh, but I'm trying to be as brutally honest as possible in this reading. Also, maybe some discussion with the moon around you not being 100% transparent about your background or about your history. Like maybe even saying, oh, she tries to act blah, 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 but she's not actually blah, blah, blah. So almost like, I don't know, she wears clothes from the old money aesthetic, but she's not actually old money. Or, she acts like she's so smart and been to this college and stuff, but I really think she went to this really low level college actually, and she doesn't have that degree that she says she has, or whatever. Like almost like, oh, she's lying. She's not telling the truth. She's not saying it accurately. And almost like I feel like there's people that want to like dig up the truth on you. I also feel like there's just people, I want to say, that are just irritated by you, pile number 3, because they see you as having an above it all attitude, or having like a princess, like queen attitude. But I do feel like a lot of you guys put that on as a protection. And a lot of it is because, again, they wish they could be you. They wish they could step into your shoes and have the options that you have. And I also feel like for you, you've had to be protective because you do know that you attract some of these haters. So Yeah, a lot of it is resentment and anger because of that. Let me get into some of these cards for you. Pile number 3. So we want to know about pile number 3. What kind of gossip is happening about them? Financial health. Again, people speculating about your finances or saying that you don't have the money situation like that you may be acting like everything is great financially, but it's not actually so great. And maybe you try to put out a vibe that, you know, financially you're really well off, but you're in credit card debt, blah, blah, blah. Let's see what else is going to come out. One more card for now. Okay, let's read this. So this one is healing, okay? Forgiveness, okay? There may be people, especially if you've been on a healing or spiritual journey, there may be people that say it's fake, that say, I knew her then, she's not actually like that, she's not actually changed, she's not actually any different, it's all an act. Family. I already read that one. Forgiveness and good luck. And final card, manifestation. I feel like if any of you guys do post about your spiritual beliefs or spiritual practices, maybe you post about astrology or tarot or anything like that, but then you do have like the haters that may gossip about it and say, oh, like now she's in this new healing era. She's pretending to be so spiritual. I remember when she did this. I remember when she got drunk and fell off, you know, a table. So it's fake. And I feel like they don't really trust or understand your transformation. I feel like as well, there are people that would say that, like I said, you're not doing as good as you try to perceive, that like the job you have isn't as prestigious as you might make it out to be, or you're not getting paid as much as you may act like you're getting paid. I feel like there's people around you that also think that, like I said, you put on a good face to the world or you act like everything's fine, but it's really not, and you're actually hiding stuff. You're actually going through some stuff. Again, I don't mean to be like really brutally honest or mean during this reading, but I feel like some of the gossip is about like, I know she's got this stuff hidden, or I know, you know, this is a lie. You may post like, oh my gosh, I bought a house, I'm so proud of myself. And you might have haters who are like trying to look up that address, figure out like, when did it close for? What did it close for? Is she renting? Did she buy it? Blah, blah, blah. Is she telling the truth? Let me look at her finances. Or if you post a photo of like a new bag you bought, you might have people who make aspersions about, oh, it's probably fake. She's probably lying. And I feel like a lot of that is just resentment because they do see you as very polished, very put together, and they can kind of see you thriving and doing really well. They can kind of see that, like, in some ways, it feels like you're very much kind of on top of the world and things are working out for you. You're getting the guys, you're getting the girls, you're getting the career boost. Everything is lining up for you, and a lot of these people may even feel left behind is what I'm getting. You have people in your life that may be the ones gossiping, and maybe at one point you were really close to them or you considered them a really good friend, and some of the reason for the gossip is just that feeling of betrayal, that feeling that you've left me behind and you've moved on and you're doing so well and you don't have any access for me in your life anymore. Let me get some astro dice for you. Pile number 3. So we want to know what astrological placements and energies are at play here for pile number 3, Spirit, and what the gossip is about them. So we got the 4th house, Libra, and the nodes. So 4th house, aka Cancer energy, Libra energy, and North Node energy. Okay, so let's start off with Cancer energy. Cancer is family, which we also have here. It is ruled by the moon. You guys got the moon card as well. So it really seems like there is a very strong kind of Cancerian vibe around you. And the interesting thing about Cancer is it does have the symbol of a crab, which has a very soft inner core and then that hard outer shell. So they need to protect themselves because they are so soft, because they are so sweet. They need to kind of have that hard shell on the outside. And I feel like that is maybe what has led to this situation sometimes, where maybe you are such a sweet person, you are such a nice person, but you may not show that to everyone because you have been screwed over. You know that sometimes people take advantage when you're vulnerable. So just like that crab would be eaten immediately if it was just its sweet, succulent, soft meat on the outside, it would get gobbled up. So it has to have that hard shell. It has to protect itself that way. It has to have the pinchers. By the same token, you know that you're not going to let everyone in because you have to keep that sacred space to yourself. I feel like there are a lot of people who may feel entitled to your time, may feel entitled to your energy, and may be jealous because they wanted to be your friend or they wanted to date you. They wanted to be your boyfriend. It bothers them that you're not letting them in. And so they're going to talk about it, gossip about it, and hate on it. Then we also have Libra energy. Libra rules the 7th house of relationships. It's a very balanced energy. One thing about Libra is like Mars is debilitated there. And so there is a perception sometimes of Libras that they may be fake or not telling the truth because Libra genuinely doesn't want to fight. They genuinely want to reach a compromise and make everyone happy. Sometimes that can make it hard for them to advocate for themselves. So again, there is that vibe of like fakeness around you or gossip around you being fake, gossip around you not telling the truth, gossip around, I feel like, again with Libra is also an air sign, and air kind of floats above, right? Like air, the air rises, air floats above all the other elements. And so sometimes there can be that perception with air signs of almost like, oh, you think you're too good, kind of with Gemini, Aquarius, Libra, all of them, and definitely the Venus ruled one, Libra, of like, oh, you're probably too good for all of us. You don't really care, do you? You don't really have any emotions in this. You're not invested. You just don't care. You're just doing your own thing. And I feel like sometimes people feel that about you, of like, you're just gliding through life. You're not taking it too serious, but almost resentment around that of like, why don't you get invested? Why don't you care? Why are you so unbothered? Air signs are not super emotional. They are an air sign. They're more intellectual. They're more in their head. And so they're not going to like break down in sobs if you told them about how, your dog died the way maybe a water sign would, or maybe a fire sign would be like, who hit your dog with their car? I'm going to get revenge, or something like that. And you'd feel those emotions coming from those placements. But an air sign might just be like, oh, okay, and not really react as much because, again, air is more intellectual. It's more in the mind. It's less in the emotions. So people may talk about you from that sense as well, gossip about you being kind of robotic, or you don't care, or you're just doing your own thing, and you're selfish. And again, it's just a misinterpretation, a misunderstanding of the energy. Then we have the North Node. So wherever the North Node comes in, you're going to have that really powerful destiny energy. People may be gossiping about you because they can sense this powerful destiny that you give off, the fact that you seem destined for great big things, the fact that you seem very on your track, on your path, like focused on your goals, your dreams, your visions, and not necessarily plugged into the petty BS in the same way that other people may be, where maybe they get bogged down by a small disagreement and they're really mad or whatever. I feel like you just kind of stay polished. You just kind of stay above it. You don't get yourself as involved as much. You don't get yourself as worked up into a tizzy, and you just kind of continue trucking through. So yeah, I feel like a lot of the discussion around you is jealousy because honestly, you kind of seem like that girl, pile 3. You kind of seem like just like a star in many ways, like someone who really is the center of conversation because they're gonna, like I said, do so many great things and achieve so many things and probably have a life that a lot of people would envy or want to step into. So overall, I would say it's positive, even though the haterade was coming through really strong. I feel like overall, it's just a testament to how awesome you are and how cool people perceive you as. So that is what I have for you, pile number 3. I really hope that resonates. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to check out my Patreon, where you will see all my other readings. You'll get access to over 95 exclusive readings as soon as you sign up. You also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. And I just posted a reading all about what is the brutal truth about your connection. So if you enjoyed this brutally harsh energy. That one is even more so and about relationships. I don't know. I've been feeling the need to be very blunt and Plutonian lately with the readings. There's also a reading about what is happening for you before your next birthday. And like I said, so many other readings to go through. If you're interested in signing up, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description and join me on Patreon. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com, whether you're looking for a tarot reading, an astrology session, a channeling session, a combination of all three, whether you're looking for a quick half-hour reading or a full hour-length reading. You can really customize your session so it's perfect for you. If that sounds good and you're interested in signing up for a session with me, head to my website, briarrosetarot.com, and the link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I am sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye. Hey, pile four, welcome to your reading. So if you guys picked this Vanishing Mirror Ego Sublimation card, this is going to be your reading. So I feel like a lot of the gossip around you, it's honestly, I'm getting so far the vibe kind of mild. Like there's a lot of people that I feel like are very curious about what you're doing. They may see you as someone who holds a lot close to the vest or doesn't tell a lot. So there may not even be that much bad gossip around you. You may have gotten the lucky pile for where there is not too many bad things being said about you. We'll get into some more cards as well, but I feel like a lot of people see you as quite humble, and some of them may even feel like you're too humble, like you hide away or you're too mysterious. It's almost giving Scorpio vibes of like, I don't know what's going on. I wish I could gossip about file 4, but I don't really know what's happening with their life. They don't give me a lot of material. There may be a vibe around some of you guys or gossip around you being too standoffish, or like, oh, she's a snob, she never hangs out with us, or I don't know, we're not cool enough for her because she always disappears right after work ends. So maybe even sometimes a little resentment or a little gossip around you keeping to yourself to that extent of like, she must not like us, you know what I mean? Or she thinks she's too good or something with that. So let's get into some more cards for you. Pile number 4, we want to know about the gossip about pile 4. What is the gossip around pile number 4? What is the gossip around pile number 4? So we got benefactor, grace, and generosity. Okay, we got 2 more. Sky dancers, surrender. And this one is lost in space, needing direction. Okay, so I feel like some of the gossip around you, this is a little weird, but for some of you guys, it may even have to do with you either working too hard. I know that's hard to believe, but I almost feel like with benefactor, grace, and generosity, some of the gossip around you may not be directly around you in a negative way, but around certain other people in your life, be they coworkers, be they a romantic person you're involved with, or a family member or a friend, but almost like saying you do too much for this person or this person is taking advantage of you. I feel like sometimes the gossip around you is just like, pile 4 is a really good person, but you know, maybe they fell for something, like they fell for a scam or whatever. Like it's giving me the vibe of, you know, a really good guy who's working at a job and he gives his money to his wife and maybe she's cheating on him or something like that. And I feel like sometimes, I'm not saying y'all are being cheated on at all, but I'm saying there's the vibe of maybe if you think about it, that person could have looked at the details more, could have been a little bit less trusting, could have been like, hey, wait, I know you have access to the bank accounts. I want you to have that, but why did you withdraw, you know, $800 cash? And why did you say you were on a business trip, but then you paid for like a hotel room in Las Vegas? Like, what's going on here? Or you paid for a hotel room in the same town we live in. What kind of business trip is this? You know what I mean? Where there's sometimes maybe people saying, oh, pile 4 is too trusting, or pile 4 has been taken advantage of. I feel like sometimes so this is going to be like a brutally honest reading, just a heads up, because I wanted this to be a little more intense and not as sugar coated. So if that's not your vibe, you can totally dip. I won't be offended. And fair warning that I do have Mercury squaring Pluto at 0 degrees. So I don't mean to be triggering, but sometimes it happens. But I will say, before I say this, I feel like sometimes there's a vibe around you guys of almost being like, I don't know, how do I put this? Not uh not having a lot of confidence, or not knowing your worth, or not kind of almost like pile number 4, you're not even doing that much stuff. You're not doing that much stuff with your life, or you're not accomplishing that much stuff, or saying, and I know I hate even saying this, like I'm like, how do I say this? That's not really mean. But anyway, almost like pile 4 is just resigned. Like what I'm getting is almost like a resigned energy from you, like this energy of like whatever, oh well, like kind of like defeated energy. You know what I mean? And I feel like people talk about you in that sense of like, wow, like they should demand more, or they should be doing more, or they should be working more, or they accept really bad treatment, or that's kind of pathetic that they put up with that. I don't know. I feel like sometimes people think about you as like a nice person, but also someone that sometimes could be a sucker, could fall for things, or just God, I hate doing this because I feel like if I'm brutally honest, yeah, it's like I feel like sometimes maybe there's a vibe of even sometimes you being a little boring. And again, I hate to say this, I feel so bad, but I promised myself I was going to be very honest in this reading. So it is what it is. Um, I feel like sometimes maybe a vibe around you being boring, or not having that much going on in your life. And sometimes like, well, what is Pile 4 doing? What are they up to? What's going on with them? Like it's almost like you might have sublimated your ego too much to the point where you're like, yeah, I'm just chill. And you're not showing off, which again, that can be a fine thing. You might not show off on social media or brag to people, and they don't know what's going on. So they're projecting and saying, oh, it's so boring, and it's not true. But there may be a discussion around you of like, oh, they really don't go out ever, or they just, I don't know, I don't think they're dating anyone ever. They're just kind of boring. They just stay at home. They don't go out. Yeah. They don't have a boyfriend. They don't date. It is what it is. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, I feel like, and it's funny, as I said, I got a defeated energy. I see this Sky Dancer's surrender card. It almost feels like that's your energy. Like you're the one who's surrendered, or you're the one who's just like, oh, I'm not trying too hard. People may even, I feel like this one is really very Plutonian. I'm really feeling that with you guys. Like, I don't know why. I feel like it's coming across even harsher. Um, I feel like what's coming to my mind is that quote from Karl Lagerfeld where he's like, sweatpants are a sign of defeat. And obviously it's like not everyone agrees. I mean, there's a time I love my yoga pants and stuff like that. But the thing is I feel like that's what's coming to my mind is how sometimes, even if someone hasn't, it's like that's so dramatic, they haven't actually accepted defeat. But maybe someone might look at them and say, oh, they're not putting effort in, or they're not really trying, or they could be so much more, or they have so much potential. Like, it's coming to my mind the image of like Anne Hathaway in the Princess Diaries, how like before she was still Anne Hathaway, but then after it's like her full potential. And of course, those are based off like beauty standards and blah, blah, blah. But this is just what I'm getting as like some of the gossip is maybe like Pile 4 could do so much, but they don't actually do it. It's reminding me of this person I know. And it's funny, I mentioned Scorpio at the beginning of the reading, like too much Scorpio, too secretive, because this person is heavily Scorpio. But this person, like, they will always be the person who turns down a social event. They will never want to go out. And a lot of times people will invite them to stuff and be like, hey, I really want you to come. And they mean it, but this person will always just be like, no, I'm not doing it. And I feel like that has its own cachet. That can be really cool. Like there's a power in being like, no, I'm not attending, I'm staying home. But over time, as that builds up, builds up, builds up, and you turn down all these social events, and then it's like, oh, I'll just spend the weekend alone, it can really kind of weigh on you or add up or accumulate. And I just feel like for you, there is a message or a vibe of sometimes it's like you don't put effort into something, or you don't work as hard about something, that you could, you could maybe put a little effort in, or you could try a little harder, or you could push yourself out of your comfort zone, and maybe you may more stay in your comfort zone is kind of what I'm getting as the first thing people gossip about pile 4. And I do apologize if it comes across really harsh. I'm just trying to be as 100% unfiltered, honest as possible in this reading. So let me get some more tarot for you guys. Pile number 4. What do people gossip about pile number 4? What do people gossip about pile number 4, Spirit? Okay. The 5 of Swords. People may even gossip about you and say you're shady, say you're dishonest, say you're not truthful. They may say you're like a backstabber or someone who is not to be trusted. They may not understand you. They may think of you as disingenuous. King of Wands reversed. They may see you as either overly hypersexual or not sexual at all. Someone who is very divorced from their sexuality, or someone who's hypersexual in a way that's like out of control, King of Pentacles. And the Page of Wands. Okay, let's get a couple more cards for you. Pile number 4. What is the gossip around pile 4? 9 of Swords reversed. And the 9 of Pentacles upright. Great. And let me get 2 more cards. Okay. The Queen of Wands. And the Devil card. There may also be gossip around you being like a schemer or someone who would, go out of their way to try to make certain things happen, kind of make machinations happen, like steer things a certain way or not be completely honest and scrupulous. With the Devil card, people may talk about you having certain dysfunctions, falling into old patterns, or just someone that has a lot of things they need to work through. Like, oh my God, I can't believe she's doing that again. That's so dysfunctional. Or, oh my gosh, she's always been that way. She just has a lot of issues. Like, I feel like there's a lot of talk maybe around, like you, again, getting stuck in a rut, getting stuck in a comfort zone, or even maybe being a little bit too cautious with this King of Pentacles coming out. People may talk about you being way too cautious, being way too much someone who stays inside the safety zone and doesn't venture outside of that. And people may gossip about you having a lack of exciting things happening in your life as a result of that. So it's almost like, she's not dating. I don't think she's been on a date in months. Or, she turned down that job because it would mean she'd have to move to New York, even though it was 5 times her salary. Like, she's so scared. I don't know. I feel like when people do talk about you also, honestly, I will say, I feel like a lot of times they don't know that much about you because you are, I feel like, secretive. I don't feel like you're the kind of person that reveals everything. I feel like you obscure things. You kind of play things close to the vest. You don't tell all your business, tell all your details. And there may even be talk about you being chaotic. Like, I feel like sometimes it's almost like you can be on 2 speeds. Like, it's bringing to my mind the kind of person that, they might be quiet for the entire year, and then something happens that really upsets them and they just blow up and they're screaming, they're telling everyone off, and people might say, oh my gosh, like, you're completely out of control. What are you doing? Why are you screaming? And it's not that serious, and you're so mad. And I feel like sometimes people talk about you in that sense of like, pile number 4, they don't have, maybe it's like you have 2 modes. You're either coming at someone 100% or you're just being very like stasis, whatever happens, happens. But I feel like people sometimes talk about you through the lens of like, they don't manage their energy well, or they're too one or the other, or it's almost like you may be that person that holds so much inside, and then when you bring it up, you blow up and you do it way too intensely, way too much. And so people may literally see this as like a dysfunction and gossip about you in terms of it being a dysfunction. And again, I don't mean to be harsh, pile number 4. I don't want you guys to dwell on any negativity or anything. This is just what I'm channeling. But yeah, I feel like there is discussion around pile number 4, some of you guys um, having, like I said, or that person that like never goes out, and then when they go out, they end up getting like completely blackout and then hooking up with the bartender. And then it's like, it's a company party and people are like, what? I thought she was like the quiet one who didn't, I thought she didn't even party. I thought she doesn't drink. I've never seen her. She always turns down happy hour, and now she's like dancing on the table, dancing on the bar with the bartender, making out with him in the bar in front of the other office workers. Like, this is crazy. So I feel like sometimes people talk about you with not having moderation, or almost like when you do something, sometimes it could be done with a more refined energy. It could be done like more, let me watch myself. Like sometimes you might hold yourself in so much, and then when you finally let yourself free a little bit, it's like an explosion. You know, it's like, I'm going all the way. And Spirit is saying, or I feel like a message for this, or Spirit is not saying, the gossipers may be saying that it should be more moderate, or there should be more balance. But again, I feel like a lot of these people are kind of haters. I also feel like you could just be someone who's very energetically affected by things, pile 4, and you may have a lot of haters around you that you know they're haters. So it kind of like adds to your discomfort. So maybe you usually don't drink, but then you're out at the mandatory holiday happy hour at your office, and you can just tell that like Janelle and Sarah are talking about you in the corner. So you can just feel the evil eye from them. So you end up, yeah, taking too many shots, and then you make out with like call in from accounting or whatever. But, you know, I feel like some of that is because you are actually good at reading people and you have been judged in the past, but some of it may be trauma from feeling super judged as a child or whatever. So you kind of don't want to let anyone in, and you're kind of like blocking absolutely everyone. And I feel like you should know that, like, again, people sometimes can be more intuitive than they even realize. But a lot of times people actually, I feel like if you were more 100% transparent and honest, a lot of times they might really like you, and they may really be like, oh, no, that's cool, whatever. And that would actually be a great defense against like Sarah and Janelle, because it's like, if you're opening up your energy a little bit more, if you're letting people in a little bit more, if you're letting the light in more, then there won't be so much of an ability to like make up these stories, make up these narratives about you. Let me get into some more cards for you. Pile number 4. So we want to know what the gossip is about pile number 4. What is the gossip around pile 4? Lighten your load. Okay. Let's see. This one says love. Okay. What is the gossip around pile 4? Prosperity. Healing. And let me get one more card for you. This one is clarity. I feel like some of the gossip around you as well, and maybe this is why this reading is coming across like extra harsh, and I was like, I don't even want to say half these things because, oh my gosh. But I feel like sometimes you can be harsh as well. And it's giving heavy Scorpio, because Scorpio is ruled by Pluto, and that's why I said I have Mercury square Pluto, so just know that, because it can be triggering. And that's the thing about Scorpio Pluto placements, they can really trigger people, like a Scorpio ascendant, any Scorpio inner planet like the sun, moon, Mars, Mercury for sure, Venus, are meant to really trigger in that area. And I feel like sometimes people feel like you're overly harsh, or what you say, like Scorpio Mercury's, especially when it's combined with a Scorpio Mars, it can be so harsh, and it can just be like, let me cut to the actual bone. And I feel like for you guys, sometimes if you're mad or if you're done with someone, like, you are a very formidable fighter. You are someone that can really come for someone and actually like go in for the kill. And so people kind of know that, and they may also gossip about you from that sense of like, pile 4 is mean, or pile 4 is such a jerk, or pile 4 doesn't care about anyone. They are so selfish because, you know, they attacked me like this. They said this about me. I feel like sometimes people feel that you're very cold or emotionless, or you don't let anyone in, that like, oh, you'll never have a relationship because you're such a jerk. And I feel like, again, they don't really realize that one of the reasons Scorpio, similar to Cancer, but all the water signs have protective abilities. Pisces is just the ability to swim away as the fish. But all the water signs, because they're so empathetic, because they're so emotional, because they're so warm and relationship focused, they really need to have a protection. For Pisces, it's swimming away. For Cancer, it's that hard shell of the crab. And for Scorpio, it is the hard shell of the scorpion, but also that stinger. And so if you really, you know, start coming for a Scorpio, they will sting you with that stinger. And the thing about a scorpion is it literally doesn't care if it dies. It will like leave its stinger in you, break it off, and die, because all they care about is like, I'm going to get mine back. I am going to get you. And it's very like primal for them. It's something they really feel the need to do, is like, if you attack me, I'm going to come back for you full force. And I feel like people sometimes don't get that about you, and they may think of you as cold, they think of you as mean, or they think of you as someone who's just unnecessarily got a chip on your shoulder, just unnecessarily hostile. They may be put off of like, oh my God, your energy, or you're so awful to me, or you were so rude. And I feel like sometimes they don't realize that maybe there have been a lot of heartbreaks that have preceded that, or there is a reason for you acting that way, or you're just not open to everyone. You don't want to be everyone's best friend because of experiences you've had in the past, and you need to know that you need to kind of protect yourself as well. I also feel like some of the gossip around you may be around like with love, maybe you being kind of, I feel like some of the gossip around you with love is actually kind of good. Like maybe you date really attractive partners, or maybe you have that vibe of like dating very hot, very sexy partners. I feel like sometimes people are like, how do they do it? Or pile 4 doesn't deserve that boyfriend. Or why does pile 4 have that girlfriend? Like, he does not deserve her. He's such a jerk, or he's not that cute. So why did he get that? I feel like sometimes people don't understand your riz. They don't understand your good looks and your energy, and that your focused attention when you do open up can be very, very attractive and very, very seductive in a way. So sometimes someone that may be on the more negative side of you and have seen a version of you that's more closed, they may really not get why you bring certain people in and really take care of them, or really do so much, or why some people are really, really drawn to you in that sense. Let me get into some astrology dice for you, pile number 4. So we want to know what astrological energies are at play for pile 4, and we got Jupiter, aka Sagittarius. Then we have Cancer, okay. And finally, 9th house, double Sagittarius. So let me spin this one more time. This is, okay, the 5th house, aka Leo energy. So let's start over here with Jupiter, since we got double Jupiter energy coming out. So Jupiter, aka Sagittarius, is the house where we can really expand spiritually and knowledge-wise. It is the house of higher learning, higher education, as well as travel. And Sagittarians can be quite mysterious for that reason. They aren't someone who's easy to track, and they're also not someone who's very the energy of Sagittarius, of course, not in every individual Sagittarius, but the energy of Sagittarius is really not as concerned with those petty issues between people. And it's where we start moving into the part of the chart that's really about collective energies and really into spiritual development. It's where we really start making that transition in the 9th house, and less concerned with more of those interpersonal relationships or those self-focused problems. And a lot of people may not understand that. Like it may be that energy that sometimes seems cold or snobby or above it all, like that person that comes back from their trip from France and they start pronouncing everything with the French accent. They start being really over the top and talking about how much better the food is in France. And oh my gosh, you could only imagine. But every day we would wake up and go get a baguette, you know, and they're just like being so over the top. And sometimes people can be very triggered by that. And they can be like, "Ugh, well, who do you think you are?" Or that person who comes back from Thailand and, you know, wants to tell you all about it. And they're never, they're talking about how they went through a spiritual journey, and, you know, they're speaking in Thai and they tell you at the Thai restaurant, like, oh, this isn't authentic. It's not real. You should have had the real mango sticky rice or whatever. My point is that, you know, sometimes that can really rub people the wrong way. They can feel like, excuse me, like, who are you? You think you're so much better than me just because you went to college, because you went to travel. It's very ninth house energy. And I feel like sometimes people feel like you're a bit of a snob or feel like you're a bit closed off, that you aren't giving access to them. Or if someone's talking about like petty drama, or they're talking about, you know, I got in an argument with my boyfriend and I'm so upset. You might not be the type to be like, oh my gosh, here's a tissue. Tell me all about it, girl. You might be like, okay, well, anyway, you know, you can read the self-help book or good luck. But I feel like sometimes people get irritated by that. They may get triggered by that and they may put a negative spin on that or gossip about like, I can't believe they said that. Or they think they're so cool. They think they're so much better. They think they're so educated. They think they're so sophisticated, and jealousy around that. Then we have Cancer energy, aka the fourth house. I was mentioning the shell Cancer has as well. So to protect that soft inner core, obviously Cancers need that shell. The crab needs a shell, and that's why crabs are able to exist. They'd all get eaten if it was just the soft, delicious crab meat running around on the seabed. You know, there'd be lots of fish that would love to have that for dinner. So they need to have that crab shell in order to protect themselves. And I feel like for you guys, you know, there's this beautiful soft inner core part of yourself, which is very fourth house, very Cancer. Cancer is where we kind of relax, we feel at ease. It's like coming home after a long day and pouring yourself a glass of wine, having a bubble bath, and kind of relaxing finally. That's the energy of Cancer in the fourth house. It's where we find ourselves at ease, but it's definitely different from how we approach the rest of the world. If you're approaching everyone that way, that can really lead to a lot of problems if you don't have that boundary up. That's why Cancers can have that hard shell and sometimes be inaccessible. Or if you upset them, they're going to go quiet on you. They're not going to talk to you. They're going to remove themselves. You're not going to get access all the time. If you have really hurt a Cancer, they need to go process. They need to go into their shell. And I feel like, again, some of this is just entitlement because maybe you refuse to engage in like office politics, or you refuse to go to the after work happy hour, and everyone else is like, this is so important. And, or, you know, she never tells me about her boyfriend. She never tells me about her relationships. She never tells me about her friends. And people may even project on you that you're weird or you don't have any relationships because you're not talking about them. You refuse to. All the girls in the office are talking about how, you know, their boyfriends, their dating life, they're all kvetching about how they, you know, had the worst time on the dating apps, and you're just sitting there silently, and it can feel very upsetting. Like, okay, so you're not one of us, so you don't want to be a part of our group. And I feel like they don't realize that sometimes you need to do that to like process or just to have your own energetic protection. Then we also have the fifth house, aka the house of Leo, the house of young children, the house of hobbies and interests. That may also be another reason why people get kind of triggered by you or upset by you. If you have some different hobbies or unique interests that you're focused on, maybe you're more focused on a hobby or an interest or something else that you love instead of dealing with certain people, and they may be very upset by that. They may really take it the wrong way and see it as a rejection of them and get very offended, get very in their feelings about this perceived rejection, about the way you're focused on other things. You're, you know, a little more self-focused in a way, because Leo is also a self-focused energy. It's about my interests, what I love to do, how I love to show up and perform, or things I love to put out in the world creatively. And it can be that energy that sometimes can even come across too strong, like that person that is the theater kid that is like maybe seems a little awkward to the jocks because they're singing from musicals and quoting, a play, instead of just chilling in the crowd with ever, instead of just like fitting in and doing what they need to do. It can be that, oh my God, you're so over the top, or you don't really care to fit in. You're doing what you want and you don't realize that the group has a different expectation of you. So that is what I have for you. Pile number 4. I really hope that resonates, guys. If you want to see more of my content, then be sure to head to my Patreon, where I post all my additional readings. There are over 95 exclusive readings you'll only get access to on Patreon, and you also get early and ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. I just posted a reading all about what is the brutal truth about this connection. So if there's a romantic relationship, you really need some brutal honesty, and hopefully you can see from this reading that I, can be very honest when I need to be, then that's a great one to watch. Also, I posted a reading all about what is happening for you before your next birthday. But like I said, there is so much content to see, over 95 exclusive readings on Patreon and early ad-free access to all my YouTube videos. So if you would like to join us over on Patreon, head to the link underneath the timestamps in the comments in the description, and I would love to see you there. Also, if you're interested in booking a private session with me, you can do that at my website, briarrosetarot.com. Whether you're looking for a tarot reading, an astrology session, an open channeling session, whether you want it to be a quick 30-minute reading or a longer hour-length reading, a pre-recorded reading, or a live session, you get to really customize your time with me. So it's the perfect session for you. If all of that sounds good, then head to my website, briarrosetarot.com. Link for that is in my description. So thank you so much for watching, guys. I'm sending you so much love and light, and I will see you again very, very soon for another reading. Take care, guys. Bye.